Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh launched the Army Project Udbhav, aimed at integrating ancient wisdom with modern military pedagogy. Project Udbhav is a joint collaboration of the Indian Army and United Service Institutions of India. The project aims to promote indigenous discourse through the exploration and integration of country's ancient strategic acumen into the contemporary military domain. The Defense Minister also inaugurated the Indian Military Heritage Festival in New Delhi this week. The festival seeks to create a benchmark in the domain of the public engagement with a military history and heritage through interaction while adhering to goals for developing the armed forces in the 21st century. It also provides a platform for discussing various contemporary issues related to India and the world pertaining to security, strategy, and international relations. United States has imposed sanctions on the 3 China-based companies for supplying missile-applicable items and technology for Pakistan's ballistic missile program, the United States Department said. The United States State Department has said that the sanctions were being imposed as part of the global non-proliferation regime. China has been a main supplier of arms and defense equipment to Pakistan's military modernization program. The 3 companies sanctioned are General Technology Limited, Beijing, Luvlo Technology Development Corporation Limited, and Changzhou Utech Composite Company Limited. The sanction comes days after Pakistan conducted the launch of Ababil ballistic missile system. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif returned home on Saturday, that is 21st October 23, after 4 years of self-imposed exile ahead of talks of his political comeback in the upcoming elections. Nawaz Sharif flew in from Dubai to Islamabad on a chartered flight along with some family members, senior party leaders and friends. Earlier this week, the Islamabad High Court granted protective bail to Sharif until Tuesday, removing the threat of immediate arrest when he lands back into the country. The return has been touted for months by the Pakistan Muslim League, whose leader hopes Sharif's political clout will help in reviving its flagging popularity. The leaders of Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) countries and the Association of Southeastern Asian States (ASEAN) gathered in Riyadh in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Friday, October 20th, under the leadership of Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, Crown Prince, in response to an invitation extended by King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, King of Saudi Arabia. All GCC countries have agreed to join the Treaty for Friendship and Cooperation with ASEAN, signifying their dedication to strengthening ties and exploring various avenues of collaboration. Key highlights from the summit include a commitment to peace, security, and prosperity through respect for international law and principles of good neighborliness. The summit emphasized the development of human resources, especially in the field of education, vocational training, and improving the quality of education. The historic Riyadh summit marks a significant step towards stronger cooperation between the GCC and the ASEAN, with leaders expressing their shared commitment to peace, stability, and prosperity in both regions. India has sent humanitarian aid to the strife-torn Palestine in Gaza Strip. In a social media post, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that an Indian Air Force C-17 flight carrying nearly 6.5 tons of medicines and 32 tons of disaster relief material for the people of Palestine has departed for El Arish Airport in Egypt. The material includes essential life-saving medicines, surgical teams, tents, sleeping bags, tarpaulins, sanitary utilities, and water purification tablets, among the other necessary items. The items will be sent to Palestine via Rafah border crossing between Egypt and Gaza. The government has prohibited import of human gametes, which are reproductive cells, and import of human embryo and human gamete is prohibited in the accordance with the ART Regulation Act 2021 and the Surrogacy Regulation Act of 2021. And government issued a notification to this effect by the Director General of Foreign Trade DGFT. China has removed its Defense Minister General Li Shanfu, the second ousting of the senior leader in 3 months, raising questions about the stability of the leadership team around Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to the state media, General Li Shangfu, who has been absent from public view for 2 months, was dismissed as defense minister and state councillor. China also announced that Qin Gang, who was removed as a foreign minister in July, was stripped of his state council position. French President Emmanuel Macron has proposed that an international coalition fighting the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria widen its scope to include the fight against the Palestinian military group Hamas in Gaza. Macron gave no details on how the US-led coalition of the dozens of the countries of which Israel is not a member could be involved. His advisors said, however, the coalition participation would not necessarily imply boots on the ground, but could include intelligence sharing. Macron, who warned against the risk of regional conflicts, also said the fight against Hamas must be without mercy but not without rules. The US-led coalition fighting Islamic States was formed in September 2014. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the meeting of the 43rd edition of Pragati, standing for proactive governance and timely implementation. This is an ICT-based multimodal platform. He reviewed 8 key projects spread across 7 states having cumulative worth of around 31,000 crore rupees. Among these, 4 projects were concerned with water supply and irrigation, 2 projects for expanding national highways and connectivity, and 2 projects for the rail and the metro rail connectivity. These are Bihar, Jharkhand, Haryana, Orissa, West Bengal, Gujarat, Maharashtra. During the interaction, the Prime Minister also reviewed mobile towers and 4G coverage under USOF projects. Under the Universal Service Obligation Fund, USOF 33,573 villages with 24,149 mobile towers are to be covered for saturation of mobile connectivity. India is also working towards the launch of 6G at the earliest. Eight former Indian Navy officials who worked with Al Dhahra Company, which describes itself as a local business partner of Qatar Defense, were sentenced to death in Qatar this week. The Ministry of External Affairs said that it was deeply shocked and is exploring all legal options. They have been in custody since August 2022, but the charges were not made public. A detailed video on this has already been made and the link is in the description. A BSF Jawan and 4 civilians were injured after Pakistani Rangers opened unprovoked firing at 5 Indian posts along the international border IB in Jammu on Thursday this week. The firing started around 8 p.m. and was befittingly retaliated, the official added. Reportedly, the Pakistani Rangers also fired mortar shells at the civilian areas. This is the first major incident of ceasefire violation after the February 2021 pact between Indian troops and the Pakistani army. Notably, this is the second ceasefire incident this month in the same area. Earlier, on October 17th, 2 BSF Jawans were injured in firing by Pakistan. In Mexico, Hurricane Otis has made a landfall on the coast of southern of the country, bringing the wind speeds up to 270 km per hour. Mexico's National Hurricane Center said it touched down near the popular Acapulco resort just after midnight this Saturday. Authorities have warned a life-threatening storm surge and the possibility of landslides as heavy rain pelts the area. A hurricane warning is in effect for a 350 kilometers long stretch of coastline between the coastal towns of Zihuatanejo and Punta Maldonado in the state of Guerrero. According to Mexico's civil protection body, power outrage has also been reported in Guerrero. School classes across the state were cancelled in preparation for the storm arrival. European Union leaders have agreed at a summit in Brussels to call for a humanitarian corridor and pauses to urgently send aid to Gaza. This comes amid commitment made by the United Nations humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths, warning that aid was barely trickling into Gaza despite the agency's best efforts. Palestine ambassador to the United Nations Riyad Mansour urged world leaders to help stop the bombs, while Israeli ambassador to the United Nations Gilad Erdan said Israel is at war only with Hamas. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accused the West of not taking action against Israeli attacks on Gaza. Hamas has claimed that 50 hostages have been killed due to the air strikes of Israel. Gazan Health Ministry released list and names of 7,000 people killed in Gaza since the war started on 7th October. However, US President Joe Biden expressed doubts about the reported death toll. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Forces IDF said it killed Shadi Barad, the deputy head of Hamas intelligence arm, in a targeted operation. In the Asian Para Games at Hangzhou, India Saturday added 18 medals, taking the overall tally to a historic 107 medals comprising of 28 gold, 38 silver and 47 bronze. This remarkable feat supersedes India's previous best of 72 medals, which was recorded in 2018 editions at the Asian Para Games in Indonesia. The Indian contingent aims to maintain its winning streak at the Games in lawn bowls, athletics, archery, badminton, swimming, shooting, chess, cycling, powerlifting, and table tennis, which are scheduled ahead. US military carried out strikes in the eastern Syria against two facilities used by Iran-backed militant group Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corporation, IRGC. United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in a statement said that United States military forces conducted these precision self-defense strikes as a response to the series of ongoing attacks against US personnel in Iraq and Syria that began on October 17. Reportedly, one contractor was killed and 21 American servicemen injured. He emphasized that these strikes are separate and distinct from the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. India abstained in the United Nations General Assembly on the resolution that called for an immediate humanitarian truce in the Israel-Hamas war. The resolution, drafted by Jordan, did not mention Hamas, and US reportedly expressed outrage at the omission. Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom also abstained, while Pakistan, Russia, and South Africa supported Jordan's resolution. The voting results were in favor 120, against 14, and abstention 45. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded itself this week back in history. 22nd October 1962, Cuban Missile Crisis. On this day in 1962, President John F. Kennedy alerted Americans to the Cuban Missile Crisis, declaring a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments to the island country 90 miles off the coast of the US. "23rd October 1983, US and French troops attacked in Beirut. On this day in 1983, suicide bombers drove truckload of high explosive into the barracks of United States Marine and the French paratroopers in Beirut, killing 241 US servicemen and 58 French troops. 24th October 1945, United Nations established. The Charter for the United Nations, the world's premier international organization, established at the end of World War II to maintain world peace and friendly relations among the nations, entered into force this day in 1945. 25th October 1415, English triumph at Agincourt. On this day in 1415, the English army, led by Henry V, scored a decisive victory over the French at the Battle of Agincourt during the 100 Years' War, paving the way for further English conquest and success. 26th October 1979, Park Chung-hee assassinated. On this day in 1979, Korean President Park Chung-hee was assassinated by his lifelong friend Kim Ja-kyu, head of the Korean Central Intelligence Agency, who was sentenced to death for his action. 27th October 1978, Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin awarded Nobel Peace Prize. On this day in 1978, Anwar Sadat of Egypt and Menachem Begin of Israel were awarded the Nobel Prize for a peace for negotiations that resulted first in the Camp David Accord, then in a peace treaty between their countries. 28th October 1886, Statue of Liberty dedicated. On this day in 1886, US President Grover Cleveland officially dedicated the Statue of Liberty, a gift from the people of France to the people of United States, on the Bedlois, later Liberty Island in Upper New York Bay.
Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.